Hey everyone, today we're diving into an incredible story from American history, the American Revolution. This was the epic struggle that led to the birth of a new nation, so buckle up as we explore the events that changed the course of history from 1775 to 1783. By the mid-18th century, the 13 colonies were flourishing along the east coast of what we now call the United States. But life under British rule wasn't as smooth as it might seem. During this time, tensions were brewing between the colonists and the British government. The British had been imposing various taxes and laws on the colonies, like the Stamp Act of 1765 and the Townshend Acts of 1767. These laws were seen as unfair because the colonists had no voice in the British Parliament, where these decisions were made. The Stamp Act required colonists to buy a stamp for every piece of paper they used, from newspapers to legal documents. And the Townshend Acts placed duties on everyday items like tea, glass, and paper. The colonists were outraged. They rallied with the slogan, "No taxation without representation." They wanted to have a say in the laws that affected their lives. One of the most famous acts of defiance was the Boston Tea Party in 1773. The British East India Company had been given the exclusive right to sell tea to the colonies, which hurt local merchants. To protest, a group of colonists, disguised as Native Americans, boarded British ships and dumped 342 chests of tea into Boston Harbor. Imagine the mess. The British response was harsh. In 1774, they passed the Intolerable Acts, which closed Boston Harbor and took away many of Massachusetts' freedoms. Instead of calming things down, these acts only increased anger among the colonists, pushing them closer to rebellion. In response, the colonies came together in September 1774 for the First Continental Congress in Philadelphia. Representatives from 12 of the 13 colonies gathered to discuss their grievances and plan a united response. They decided to boycott British goods and prepare for possible conflict. This was a crucial step towards independence. As tensions rose, the situation turned violent. On April 19, 1775, British troops marched into Lexington and Concord, leading to the first major battles of the Revolution. These battles were significant because they marked the start of armed conflict. The phrase, "the shot heard round the world," refers to these initial confrontations. After these battles, the Second Continental Congress met in May 1775. This time, they formed the Continental Army and appointed George Washington as its commander-in-chief. Washington faced enormous challenges. His army was often poorly equipped and lacked proper training, but he became a key figure in leading the fight for independence. One of the early victories came at the Battle of Saratoga in 1777. This was a turning point in the war because it convinced France to support the American cause. France provided crucial military assistance, including troops, ships, and supplies. Their support was a game changer. Meanwhile, on July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence. This document, drafted mainly by Thomas Jefferson, declared that the colonies were no longer under British rule. It was a powerful statement of freedom and equality that inspired many people, both in America and around the world. As the war continued, several important battles shaped its outcome. The victory at Saratoga was followed by the brutal winter at Valley Forge, where Washington's troops endured severe hardships, but emerged stronger and more disciplined. Then came the decisive moment in 1781 at the Siege of Yorktown. British General Cornwallis, trapped by American and French forces, was forced to surrender. This defeat marked the end of major fighting in the war. With the war winding down, negotiations began. On September 3, 1783, the Treaty of Paris was signed. This treaty officially ended the war and recognized American independence. The United States was now a free and independent nation, with new borders stretching from the Atlantic to the Mississippi River. The American Revolution was more than just a war. It was a fight for freedom and self-governance. It laid the foundations of democracy and shaped the future of the United States. The ideas and ideals that emerged during this time continue to influence the nation today. From the courage of the early patriots to the resilience of the Continental Army, the American Revolution is a testament to the power of unity and determination. It's a story of how people came together to create a new beginning and build a nation based on principles of liberty and equality. Thanks for joining us on this epic journey through the American Revolution. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to us, and hit that notification bell.